We are live, everyone. Welcome to The Real Raw, a place where we get to see and experience how influence is a superpower. The Real Raw offers us a chance to have a microphone, a stage, form ecosystems, make more magic in less time, all with the use of the formula, which Sean Callagy curated for the past 23 years. And who's Sean Callagy? He's a wonderful human that I love, and he's a mentor.
Too.
Wow. He's an entrepreneur, a national speaker, a philanthropist, one of America's top trial attorneys, and he's the chief visionary officer at Unblinded. And though he's blind, he is here to unblind us all in integrity through micro distinctions, how we can all go from hello to yes in any role play that we play in life, so we as leaders can lead leaders and make the world a more heart-centered and amazing place. Welcome, Sean Callagy.
Listen, thank you, Vivian, but all I know is all I'd like to do is unblind Ari to being a Met fan instead of a Red Sox fan, because then he would not have had to endure 1986. Ari, what's up, brother?
Yankee fan here, see myself out. No, it's all right. Everybody's got a place.
Absolutely.
Is there a place for a Twins fan?
I'm sorry?
Is there a place for a Twins fan?
Kirby Puckett.
Kirby Puckett.
There you go.
In the house.
I was there when he jumped up and grabbed the thing against the Braves.
That is unbelievable, and I do feel like, Frank, because you've been around a little bit. Forgive me for turning, the camera here, but I do feel like, Vivian, sometimes there's a story for everything. But I would be remiss if I didn't share this one. So this is a Minnesota Twins dynamic. So do you want to know why when the Minnesota Twins, Frank, won the World Series, it was one of the most frustrating moments of my life? I mean, not really, but it was a deeply frustrating moment.
Why was that? No.
So I had been just elected captain of the Columbia University baseball team, right? Because I believe the Twins won the World Series in October of 1991 against the Atlanta Braves. And my senior year, that was during the fall of my senior year. So I'm captain, I'm excited. And, for your family, for stuff, one of the cool things with being captain is there's a media guide. And you, as captain, are on the cover of the media guide, right? Like, that's a fun thing. If you're 21 years old, Frank, you agree that's a fun thing?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so I am there with my future wife, the mother of my children, Peggy, in Delaware, watching the World Series. Just the two of us are sitting in, her place. And, it's like we're watching, and all of a sudden, up comes to bat, late in the game, a player by the name of Gene Larkin. And Gene Larkin, for the Twins, had gone to none other, Frank, than Columbia University.
Oh.
And he was a phenomenal player. It was like super cool. He's in the World Series. And guess what happens next, Frank?
Well, Sean, I know your story about, when you had that pivotal moment in baseball. Was it a similar story?
Gene Larkin gets the game-winning hit for the Minnesota Twins in the World Series. And as everybody is going crazy, utter pandemonium, and I don't know Gene Larkin, but I know of him, and I'm very happy for him, I turn to Peggy and go, I'm not going to be on the cover of the media guide. So Gene Larkin was on the cover of the media guide, and I have the unique distinction of having been on the inside cover of the 1992 media guide, because everything was Columbia player Gene Larkin wins the World Series for the Minnesota Twins. So whenever I hear Minnesota Twins, I think of Gene Larkin, inside cover, not front cover of media guide, and Kirby Puckett. So it is the real Raw.
So there, I brought back a memory.
You did. You remember that World Series? Who's talking right now? I'm sorry.
That's Mark Johnson, from one of your judges. I think I'm a judge.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. How are you? And do you remember that World Series?
I was there. I was there when he jumped up and grabbed the ball to go from Game 6 to Game 7. I was there.
Unbelievable. And do you remember when Gene Larkin got the hit to win the World Series?
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Unbelievable stuff.
Pretty cool.
Well, Mark, amazing. So, Vivian, let's meet all these fine folks as we digress, please.
This is awesome. I love that you both share that memory. So we have Ari Rokov, and he has a rabbinic ordination. Does that make you a rabbi? Is that so? You're on mute. I can't hear you. All right. You are still on mute. I still can't hear you. Okay, I'll continue. We have a rabbi in the house, if that is correct, with an educational background in industrial organization and psychology, with over 20 years in nonprofit executive leadership. And he was certified from both Harvard U and Columbia U. He's the director of strategic
Wow.
partnership, I know, and leadership development at Orthodox Union. And his expertise is strategic planning, institutional advancement, human capital maximization, and talent identification and development. So welcome, Ari. I hope you're unmuted.
Ari, do we have you?
We don't have you vocally. We cannot hear you.
I would bounce back to Ari, but Ari is one smart dude working in the space of leadership, transforming lives. Welcome to him. Hopefully his technical difficulty gets worked out. But Vivian, let's keep rocking and rolling. So welcome, Ari. And we have
Brian Wallace. Brian Wallace is the founder and president of Now Sourcing, an industry-leading infographic design agency based in Louisville, Kentucky, and Cincinnati, Ohio. Works with companies that range from startups to Fortune 500s. Brian runs hashtag LinkedIn local events nationwide, back when we used to travel, I hear, for 26, all the way to 2016 and present, and joined SW Advisory Board in 2019. So welcome, Brian, and I can't wait to hear his factoid.
Pleasure.
Yes. Brian, how are you? And where are you coming from today?
Doing fabulous. Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah. And how did you hear about The Real Raw?
Through Craig and then a few other people here. And I know I talked to Adam recently and I was just totally sold on this. I've been, like I said, I think right before you came into the room, Sean, I think I have like 15 meetings today. And this was the one that, I'm not going to say I wasn't excited about everything else, but I was literally talking about this to the other people as I was coming through the day. So
Dude, that's awesome, Ryan. And that's what we're here for. And thank you. And what's a fun fact about you?
Oh, I might save it for the whole pitch time. I don't really know the whole format of the show.
Oh no, this is
You were
now.
all-
You got to tell us now.
I know. You see, drama. But since you all, apparently I said,
Well, you know what? Wait, Brian. If you think that this would be better served in your heroic, unique identity conveyance when you're presenting later, going from hello to yes, you can save it. Vivian is super interested, and Vivian loves fun factoids, and so do I. But we don't want to deprive you of your mastery and genius if it's better for you to save it.
Oh man.
I say you
So-
share it now.
So you can either make Vivian happy or not. That's up to you. Or maybe win or not. That's up to
I'll
you.
make
So
you
there's a
happy
lot.
every
There's a
day.
lot at stake here, Brian.
I know. So let's just say I was really excited that you all started the whole game with baseball because I have something quite legendary that we did a few years back that changed the game for basketball.
Oh,
Is that enough of
So teaser.
enticement or should I keep
Yes,
on?
no,
I
that's
would
a
say
teaser.
that is super fun. So welcome, Brian. I cannot wait to hear this. And
Yeah.
Vivian, you're gonna have to wait with a little bit of bated breath for the full share. Is that okay?
Yes, I'm not sure where he's leading with that because that's not what I see on my paper, but we'll keep going. We have Judge Mark Johnson. Thank you, Medical Service, U.S. Army. Very
Yeah.
cool. Chief Executive Officer at JP and Associates Realtors, a full-service real estate brokerage focused on expansion and productivity. And for the past 20 years, he's been dedicated to understanding the inner workings of high-performing real estate agents, teams, managers, and leaders in major markets across the world. In fact, he once worked as a real estate business coach with Tom Ferry International, a #1 business coach and thought leader / business. So welcome, Mark.
I'm excited to be here, and I can tell this is kind of a group I'd like to hang out with. Talking
Yeah.
baseball and influencing the world and changing the world in a positive way. So let's roll.
Mark, this is awesome, brother. And by the way, you have a military background that I hear?
I do, yeah. I my first assignment out of college, I got my bachelor's degree from Colorado State and went on to get my MBA at California State. But my first assignment out of the ROTC program, which helped me fund college, was at Fort Sam Houston here in Texas, where I was a medical logistician and helped get supplies and medical equipment and people in need anywhere in the world.
Well, thank you, Mark, for your service and for protecting our nation.
So you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Vivian, back to you.
Oh my gosh, we have Lauren Hoffman, a rare breed. He was born and raised in Los Angeles, I hear. A salesman at heart who works as a broker rep at Link Business. He once ran a 12 million technical staffing division at MTS Core, and he worked as a software engineer in the defense industry. Welcome, Lauren.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. My first time being a judge.
Whoop,
Well,
whoop.
Lauren, thank you for being here. And what's a fun fact, brother?
So I'm an avid water skier, and my wife and I work in the wine industry.
That is fun. And so, like, where do you like to water ski?
We have a second home in the base of the Tehachapi Mountains. It's 90 miles north of our home here in LA. And it's a private man-made water skiing lake. There's about 50 of them around the country. They're made for tournament water skiing. My two daughters, my wife and I all slalom ski. And
Whoa.
it's something we're at the lake every weekend. That's something we're passionate about.
You're straight up assassin water skier. Congratulations on being up to big things in the world of water skiing
Thank
and
you.
life and business.
And what?
Awesome. I said as well as life and business.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you
awesome.
water ski, Sean?
Yes, and I was just literally thinking about it, Vivian. You took the thoughts out of my head. So, fun fact, that when my first trip to the Caribbean, out of the country, was when my dad got remarried when I was 13. And so he got remarried in Barbados. And the day he was getting married, and we have the video still to this day. We should post that. That would be a fun throwback post. So my dad attempts to water ski and gets pulled and falls. Gets pulled and falls. Gets pulled and fall, pulled and fall, pulled and fall. He's like, done, finished. So on my first pull in Barbados, I water skied for like 2 miles without falling. And that is a fun family tradition fact and an incredible source of aggravation for my father. Yes.
Just another thing you excel at because that's you.
No, I screw up plenty of things, Vivian. Yes, I'm divorced twice, so I'm much better at water skiing than being married, but thank you very much.
You've learned a lot, life experience.
That is very true. That is very true. So, yes.
Our role player, we have Adam Gugino in the house, our Chief Revenue Officer at Unblinded, who has a remarkable story of having had different beginnings, where he started his own company in a warehouse with 400 square feet and just got a team of 500 and went from 4 million to $750 million, and then walked away from all of that so he could come here to Unblinded to spread the good cheer worldwide about our formula, about how this is a superpower. And Adam is in the house, and he's going to tell you his fun factoid, which I'm not going to eliminate, but he's wearing, Sean, a fabulous shirt that is completely different, and he's going to tell you all about it.
Excellent. What's up, Adam?
What's up, brother? Yes, my shirt has palm trees, pink and black palm trees on it.
Very interesting. And why are you wearing a shirt with pink and black and palm trees?
I just, I feel like it. Well, first of all, I'm down the shore, and it makes me feel good. Makes me feel
That's awesome.
upbeat. Yeah, and
I
I
love
do have.
it.
I have a fun fact with one of our judges, but I have to ask, Lauren, may I tell the group the fun fact in regard to names and how we met?
You mean the other Lauren, or yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, Lauren. So thank you, Lauren. So me and Lauren met through my aunt. She introduced me to Lauren, and she was married. She's not married any longer, to a gentleman by the name of Lauren. Now, Lauren, if you could just finish the story, I think that'll be fitting.
Well, my wife used to compete in the fitness world, and it was natural bodybuilding, and her boyfriend and fitness partner at the time was Lauren, spelled the same way as me, and married Adam's aunt.
So does that mean Vivian, that Adam and Lauren are like related somehow?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So that is a very interesting and fun fact. Only you, Adam Gugino, not only do you take companies from $4 to $750 million, but you have some of the coolest, oddest, weirdest fun facts ever. So love you, brother. And back to you, Vivian.
We have Mr. Orange in the house. Whoop, whoop. Role player. He is the CEO at Lewis & Clark, life results coach at the Mr. Orange as his nickname, a public speaker, a serial entrepreneur for over 50 years, where he has started, created, and sold many multinational electronic service companies, producing hundreds of millions of dollars. And now he is here with us. Woo!
Mr. Orange tearing up the house at multiple giant Tony Robbins events, delivering his wisdom, his heart, his soul, his fun, his Zeus energy. What is up, Frank?
Hey, Sean. Hey, how's everybody doing? Great to be here again.
Great to be here with you too, brother. All is well?
All is really well. I got a quick fun fact for you, too.
Please?
Yep. Aerosmith is my favorite band of all time. And I was lucky enough to party with Steven Tyler at the Playboy Mansion. And while I was there at a party it was an Aerosmith, well, it was an Aerosmith, it was a Steven Tyler party. I hung out in the Playboy Grotto with Ron Jeremy, the porn star, and his girlfriend and my ex-wife. With all those in there.
Frank, this is like Vivian. I will never look at Frank the same way ever again.
It wasn't what you think, Sean.
Great. This is great.
But it was a fun time.
I'd like to see photos. I want to see photos in the verandas.
Oh my God. Walk this way. Was Run DMC there or no?
No, it was actually it was a fantasy camp for musicians.
I'm sure, Frank.
Not that kind of fantasy camp. It was a rock and roll fantasy camp where musicians got to play with different artists, and Steven sang with each band an Aerosmith song. So each band had to play an Aerosmith song that Steven sang to. It was just a small party too.
That's super. That is a super amazing, cool fun fact. This is what we do, Vivian, the Real Raw. We hang out, we connect, we have a great time. And Vivian, you are truly amazing, marvelous, outstanding, magnificent, brilliant, and bringing it every single day. And I'm immensely grateful.
Oh, I love you. You're also not on I can't see your image, but I don't know
Oh,
if you did it
no.
on purpose. Yeah.
No, I did not.
Okay.
Did that fix it?
Yes. Now
There you go. Now you're back.
Vivian, to answer your question before, right after Frank share, yeah, Ari is a rabbi, by the way. I mean, it was got cut off.
Cool.
Awesome. I hope your audio is back. Is your audio back, Ari?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Ari, I've heard of like silent monks. I had not ever heard of silent rabbinical dynamics, but is that a thing, or like it was just technical difficulty?
It's not technical difficulties. That
Awesome.
don't go hand to hand very often.
Yeah, amazing. So Ari, fun fact about you.
We started with baseball, so Sean and I met the first time, and I dropped my Red Sox affiliation and connection. That's where I grew up. But and then he shared with me the Bill Buckner story, which was like a devastating blow when you're 11 years old, and you remember that event was like defined my childhood. But the fun fact is actually that I was a Yankee fan until I was 10, because I moved from New York, and I used to walk around town innocently wearing it, and my parents didn't tell me the consequences of that. I was sitting at a game, actually in I think it was a Celtics game, and a guy poured a beer on top of me and smushed a hot dog, and essentially my conversion was complete. So I'm kind of actually a Yankee and Red Sox fan together. You don't forget those things. Bill Buckner and that defined my childhood. Yeah,
Dude,
really.
that's crazy.
They taught them. It was
Vivian,
crazy,
what
yeah.
is wrong with people? Could you imagine somebody like dumping a beer and squishing a hot dog on 10-year-old Ari's head at a Celtics game? What is wrong with people?
Pretty mean.
Yeah,
Pretty mean.
Vivian,
Yeah,
he
but
was
that-
not practicing integrity-based, heart-centered influence. Would you agree?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we should find them. So
Poor thing.
yeah, that fun fact and Bill Buckner pretty much defined my childhood. And here I am.
Yeah. Yes, amazing. And Ari, I'm glad you made it out of there. I'm certainly glad that Frank Clark made it out of the Playboy Mansion, hang out with Ron Jeremy, and it's like the Real Raw, and it's a Wednesday, it's Why Wednesday, all kinds of things are in play. But I think, Vivian, it's time for us to take it in. What do you think?
I think so. I think it's time to play.
Let's rock and roll. So here's how it works. Mr. Orange is our role player, Frank Clark, making beautiful things happen in the world with his Orange movement. So what we're going to do is, Ari, Brian, you're going to, actually, let's do it this way. Brian, I have a 1 or a 2 under the table. Do you think it's a 1 or a 2?
2.
It is a 1. So that means Ari is one to toss. Ari, would you like to go first or second?
I'll let Brian go first.
All right. How
Former
kind
New
of
Yorker.
you. So Brian is up first.
Sure we do.
Yeah, and so Brian, this is Hello-DS. It's 2 3-minute rounds, but it's 1 6-minute conversation. Just one conversation. Frank's gonna have like a phone call in the middle of it. Like, oh wait, it's to like pause for a minute, come back, and all it is Hello-DS. So it doesn't have to be a sale. It could be a yes for more time. It could be a yes where Frank's a client of yours. It could be ultimately a book deal. It could be somebody like buying a piece of memorabilia from you. It could be anything that you want in the entire world. Whatever would be a meaningful yes to you, for your business, for your life. And Frank will be himself or anybody you want him to be that would be relevant to that yes. So who would you like Frank to be?
Frank can be himself. I like
Boom.
a challenge. I don't need fake pretense. Let's do it.
Let's go. And so it's going to be 3 minutes, and I'll give you a 30-second warning. And Brian, would you like this to be you're calling him or you bumped into him somewhere? What's the scenario?
Let's pretend things are back to normal. We bumped into each other in a conference or a city or something like that. Makes us
Super
feel
cool.
better that we're closer together. How about that?
Awesome. Sure. Bumped into Frank. It's like, hey, boom. Go ahead, Brian.
Frank, so good to see you. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Brian. Good to see you as well.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we can actually get together again. We really beat that COVID thing, didn't we?
Yes, we did. It's about time we get back to some normalcy in our lives.
Yeah, so you come well recommended from the group. I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you've been going on, as you and I haven't been properly introduced.
Sure. Well, I'm the CEO of 2 electronics companies right now that we service the printed circuit board production industry. I'm also a speaker and a coach, life coach and business coach. I'm putting masterminds together, and I'm also doing some consulting and speaking at different companies. And I'm trying to grow that side of my business probably more than the electronic space right now.
The consulting side, specifically as what?
Yeah. Well, specifically around what we call orange energy, which is a passion to be driven, significant, and that desire to win and desire to be a solid contributor and know that contribution is the way that people succeed. So I'm creating a movement in that space based on the whole spiral dynamic exercise and spiral dynamic science of levels of consciousness.
Fabulous. So as much as I don't like to be a social media butterfly, I love spending all day on LinkedIn, which sounds weird. Like what? Like that's not like a party place, but it's kind of the social media playground for corporate America. And if I had $1 for every person that I saw that was author, speaker, coach, what even is that? You feel a lot of times that people kind of relegate you to somebody who just has no talent in it. And you've got this whole wealth of experience across your life, dimensional strengths within electronics, all these different things that I think a regular coach and all that movement wouldn't even know anything about, right?
Correct.
But how are you standing out already over that? And what kinds of things are you kind of leaning towards already to really get into?
Well, I'm a very good student of the formula. I also believe in a lot of the unblinded principles about stage and a microphone. So as often as I can get exposure, I'm going to take advantage of that. I participate in social media to the extent that it's effective. LinkedIn is being one of those parts of that. But obviously, I could be more effective in those spaces, especially in LinkedIn.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm trying to use every resource available to me from a marketing standpoint and exposure.
Great. I feel like the thing that I really like to preach is to influence to impact others. So sometimes I do that through LinkedIn and micro influence. Sometimes I do that through making things simple for people to understand through infographics and press and exposure. I feel like once you change the force and direction from you reaching out to everybody coming to you, it's a whole other game, right? And then you're not just another coach. You're the Frank, the Mr. Orange, right? You walk in the room, everybody's smiling just like you and I are right now. Right. So I feel like there's a lot there where if you look at a place like LinkedIn, you've got 750 million people.
And there's 10 seconds to go, and then Frank's got to take a call, and we can keep going.
You got it. So I think I would love to get another meeting on the books when we both get back to our homes. And I think there's a lot that we can really do that more people are coming to you for what you are looking to go away from more of the tech and more into more of it.
Very good. Yeah, let's do that.
He'll be right back. He's got to grab a quick call. He'll be right back.
All right.
Excellent job, Brian. Brian, how'd that feel for you?
Good. I mean, going first and having never actually seen the format of this, I like a good challenge. So I actually prefer not following a map, and you can throw me into a situation. I
Yeah.
actually like that better. I think to just follow, if you laid it out for me and it's like, oh, okay, here's what you do and here's that. I have more fun doing this because I like to think quickly and kind of feel the situation, see what people are doing, which I know is harder right now. Like how many of us are looking at the screen instead of looking at the dot? You know, it's a little unnatural, which is why I said, why don't we pretend that we're in the physical world and talk about how things work? Right.
Yeah, excellent work, Ryan. So we're going to see what our judges have to say, but great job. And now we will jump in with Ari. Ari, who would you like Frank to be?
Great job, Brian. thanks for going first, so I can follow the pattern here. Frank will be a. Let me think. Frank, you're the head of a foundation. I want to catch up with you about a project I'm working on.
Okay.
Cool. Ari,
How's that?
take us in.
Okay. Hey, Frank, how are you?
Great, Ari. How you
Long time no
been?
see. How have you been?
Have been
Good.
fantastic.
I know it's been months since we were supposed to see each other at that conference in March in Florida. Didn't happen, unfortunately. How have you been? How's your family?
Well, I've been good. I was staying healthy, and it's a shame we couldn't get together. But with this pandemic, social gathering here has been a little bit challenging.
Absolutely. We will meet one day in person. Absolutely. I hope. So I remember from our conversation, you had been very generous to offer just to be like a thought partner with me about a problem that I had then, and actually now it's even more, it's more urgent. So I'd love to run it by you. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I have only a few minutes, though, Ari, and then I got a blast. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. So I know you have a background in technology, electronics, and so forth. So if you recall, we were developing an app. We're actually very fortunate in our nonprofit work with the special needs community. Prior to COVID, so much of the world is now defined by COVID. So we were very fortunate to build this app to enable the special needs community who are, socially distanced. We understand what that means now. Socially distanced from each other forever. Those without without the communication skills and abilities. So we've actually put that product, was already in a beta test, if you recall from our conversation. And just to bring you up to speed, because you had asked about interest in that product actually is now running our entire operation with special needs community, and the technology is now at a point where we're really going to need to get some advice from people like yourself to help us kind of scale it up from essentially 1,000 users to about 100,000. I wanted to know if we can make some time, perhaps in the next week or two, if not in person, unfortunately, then maybe on the phone, just to talk about the product and also to see if our numbers are correct. We really need to have serious funding of the product. I think you'd be open to talking about.
I'd be open to talking about it. Just a quick question for you. Is this a hardware product or is this an app as well? Is this a combination of some type of electronic manufactured product that you can help on, or is it more software?
Yeah, well, I'll send you in advance. I knew that we were just going to have a few minutes now. I'll send you in advance, a prototype of it, some links, and we have stories, working. Frankly, we were not intending for it to grow at this pace. But at this point, especially in the summertime, the needs of the special needs community is just excessive. All our camps were closed, all of our schools are closed, and we really need to get this out to scale so that way families with kids with special needs can really have another outlet for their kids in a safe way to engage with them. So I'd love to be able to show you a demo. Would you be open to that?
Yeah, I would. Absolutely. Our foundation is about special needs as well to some degree. So yes, it's a little tough to hear you, Ari, but I'm catching most of what you said. And yes.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, Ari, Frank's got to grab a quick call, and he'll be back in just a couple minutes.
No problem. Thanks for your time, Frank.
My pleasure.
Awesome. All right. So let's take it. Frank, how'd you feel? If you had one word for the Ari and one word for the Brian encounters, how'd they feel?
I was intrigued with Brian, and I was comfortable, but a little rattled, mainly just because of the phone connection was a little tough to hear. But yeah, I was intrigued with Brian, and I felt very informed with Ari.
All right. Awesome. Mark, let's start with you. We're going to give about 30 seconds of feedback for each of these awesome participants. I'll hit you with a 5 second to go around the 30-second mark. And then if you could just give a score on a scale of 1 to 10, it's 15 seconds or so on a couple bullets of what went well, 15 seconds on growth opportunities. And Mark, please, what do you have?
Well, love it. I love this format. This is so exciting for me. I think Frank summed it up for us really well. He was intrigued by Brian and informed by Ari. So both very good, very polished, very authentic. Brian, I thought you really pulled in him well with the warm intro. You tied into a recommendation. You got Frank talking about him, which I thought was very powerful. So he articulated his needs and his goals so you could tie back to those. But I think you missed tying back into those goals. He laid out for you an amazing thing of all his goals that I think you might have been able to tie in a little better. But all in all, very high. Am I supposed to rate this on 1 to 10?
Yes.
I would give it, an 8 or 9. If you had tied back into Frank's goals, it would have been a 10. For Ari, again, I think very genuine, very polished, a warm intro. But I think, Ari, you missed drawing him out like Brian did. So Frank told us, hey, I was intrigued by Brian, but I was informed by you. And yours was more information, and you maybe left out a little bit of the IIFM, what's in it for Frank. It was more about what's in it for you. So I would probably give it 1 point less, and maybe a 7.
Awesome. And
Thank you.
thanks so much, Mark. Yeah. So Lauren, what'd you have for Ari and for Brian?
So Brian, I really liked how you started off building rapport and getting him comfortable with you, and a great explanation of what you were calling about. Ultimately, you got the yes, and I really don't have any critique for you. I really liked your style, and overall, I would give you a 9.
Awesome. And for Ari?
And Ari, I really I liked your introduction, your reminder of bringing him back to the history, reminding him a couple times from where you guys left off. The amazing benefit of the special needs. Challenge was the communication and in hearing you. I know that's a real technical issue. And overall, give you an 8.
All right. Well, thank you, Lauren. And Adam Gagina, what do you have for Ari and Brian?
Yes. So, of course, we're judging on depth of emotional rapport and the ability of the contestant to be, or the role player to see their future in the contestant. It's going to be similar. I did really like the start with Brian, getting Frank engaged. Also, his variance of energies was good. It was a little fun, really good there. I would have liked to find the why, Frank's why. We talked about what he's up to more. Connect to his why, as well as put something at stake, some type of something he could help him. He got there almost on his own, but yeah, I would have liked that. And then overall score for Brian, I would say an 8. And
awesome.
with Ari, came right out of the gate, really what he had, which clearly he showed his fiction, his understanding of something of core value in the world, and it was definitely connected with Frank on that level. But I would have liked to hear more about Frank, and got into, of course, Frank's why, and potentially putting something at stake as well. So similar feedback. Would have just liked to have started with a little more engagement and more emotional rapport. So overall, Ari, I would have to go with a 7.5.
Awesome. Thank you for that. We're going to go to round 2. I'll give some feedback at some point during or after round 2. And as we drop in, since Ari won the toss and elected to go second, that means that, Brian, you have choice in round 2. Would you like to go first or second?
Let's go second this time. Let's mix it up.
All right, Ari, you're up first. It's a continuation. This round, judges are judging on you're conveying your heroic, unique identity, your solution for the situation, and ultimately getting to that yes, dealing with any objections that Frank might have. Ari, you got 3 minutes. Frank is back. Go.
What's happening, Brian? How are you?
Okay. It's Ari. How are you?
Oh, Ari, sorry. How you doing, brother?
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. How have you been?
I've been fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Okay, good. Thanks for the time. I really appreciate it. So, I gave you a little background in our last conversation. I wanted to just revisit the issue and to really like lay out the challenge. I know that when we spoke, what I appreciated so much is that we never met. We were hoping to be together, as I said. So I don't usually like to, pitch and to talk on issues without, really knowing each other. But one thing that struck me, just to share it, it's not something that your foundation has funded predominantly, but during this time, we're all problem solving, and I just want to reflect on that because I appreciate A, the time, and B, that you really understand the issue here, and I just want to thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure. I have no problem spending some time and going back and forth with you here, Ari, on what it is. But what is it you actually need my foundation for? I know.
Okay, so what we really need. Yeah, no, what we really need is we need an investment infusion. We were 4 months ago, we thought we'd sort of test the beta test this with 1,000 or so users. We've already surpassed that because of the pandemic. So essentially, this product is now going to need to be upgraded, tenfold, if not more, pretty much immediately. So our needs are significant. We're talking 7 figures, about between 1 and 2 million infusion, and asking and reaching out to different foundations to see if they can help pitch in. And if we can, if you'd be open to a pitch, we'd love to send it to you.
Yeah, I'd be interested in listening to. Obviously, the money part's not necessarily a problem, but how does what you're doing affect our foundation? How does it tie into what we're doing?
So, one thing that I've always been inspired by, the work of your foundation in particular, and I know that we're not one of the charities that you have typically funded in the past, is that you have a mission behind everything that you do, and it's enabling those who are not always able. And that's not just in the special needs realm, but it's in so many other areas. And in this case, I know special needs has not always been number one on the radar, but this issue of social distance, I think if we talked about those terms 4 or 5 months ago, I don't think it would have resonated. I think we all can appreciate that now, having been really isolated in our homes. And this is one of these times where, if we can help just unlock this community and give them access in a safe way, because that's really the concern here, which is if we have our kids who are special needs on social media platforms where they don't have that emotional intelligence and that sociability, I'm concerned about the safety. So we have to have a lot of other protocols in place. So I think it's about just really fulfilling the mission, which I know you care deeply about, and would be really honored if you consider an investment in this, and perhaps can even advise us to others who would be willing to partner. And I do apologize that I'm not doing this with you in person. I really would love to. We'll do that coffee or that beer sometime soon, I hope.
10 seconds left.
Absolutely. Well, again, it's definitely something for me to consider. Special Olympics in particular is something that I have a passion about.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get together sometime and maybe we can talk some more about it.
That's great. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it, Frank. Have a good one.
My pleasure. You too. Take care.
I will be in touch.
Excellent work, Ari. How'd that feel for you, Ari?
Good.
All right. Let's go to Brian. Brian, you have 3 minutes. Frank is back. Please take us in.
Good to see you back, Frank. How are you?
I'm very good, Brian. Nice to see you as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I probably got you thinking last time around, and you're just like, who is this guy? What's going on? Some kind of infographics or press or LinkedIn. I don't really know what, but it sure sounded intriguing, right?
Well, I never heard the word infographics before this conversation. So yeah, I'm intrigued.
And that's okay, because you can replace the word infographic with the word influence to stand out above, again, like we said before, the kind of author, speaker, coach thing that I could throw a rock and hit 5 on the block, right? Mm-hmm. And you've done enough in your career that you should be able to stand proud and out from them. I feel like a lot of people, when they're evaluating you and your brand, which is inextricably the same. Jeff Bezos says it in a great way. He says your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room, right? So anybody can talk a good game. I can talk a good game. You know, you can be the Frank show. But when people are really thinking about you and evaluating you, they're doing their due diligence. Are people really going out of their way? Of course not. But what are they going to do? Google, Facebook, what their friends say, random reviews and things like that. And when I'm checking you out, I see that you have all this awesome experience, and I feel like there's all sorts of unbridled greatness that's in there, and the story has yet to be told all the way. When I'm doing things like a Google search, when I'm doing a news search, when I'm going through your LinkedIn, and I feel like there's quite a bit of influence that can be built into there. So really what I try to do, Frank, is teach people how to be influential in their skills, and I also amplify it through a special kind of content marketing that simplifies complicated things, because nobody likes to play and we're visual creatures, and we're in kind of unprecedented times. So I'd love to explore this with you quite a bit more. I really feel like you have quite a bit of room to grow on the LinkedIn side, on the press side, and really helping tell the story. Because like you, Frank, I actually come from a technology background. I like to call myself a recovering technologist. Nobody cares about how all the tech works and how the circuit boards are drilled, right? But they sure will be mad when it doesn't work and you restart it 5 times and Zoom will operate with us as we have it. So I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel like we would be synergistic together. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly we can get together and talk about it a little bit more, Brian. I'm not really sure 100% what avenue you're coming from. I know the LinkedIn space is what you're primarily involved with. But if all coaches and consultants are the same, where does that uniqueness in your business help me brand what I'm trying to do?
Absolutely. Everybody's got a story to tell. So LinkedIn is a platform where there's hundreds of millions of people with barely anybody standing up and bothering to be interesting, making content, and all of that. We've gotten people so successful on LinkedIn, it's almost like they could turn off their website, because when you make a great profile, it's really super crystal clear what you do, and you make great content. Now make the flywheel reverse. People see the great content, they see what you do, and they read you, and they book time. As far as the other stuff with the infographics, content, and press, there's a lot out there, and it's really important that when people are checking you out and they're trying you on, and the touch points, depending on who you ask, it could be 7 times, 12 times, people are doing all sorts of due diligence. If they Google you, they should be able to see all sorts of social proof. If they're checking you out on all the socials, you should have what to say. And like Bezos said, we should be seeing other people talking about you in a great way. And I think that is the differential that makes the people that we help be successful. Between that and just all of their own wonderful traits that they help everybody with, it's not enough because it's just a crowd. Like, what is the qualification for being a coach? I write on the internet, hello, I'm a coach today. But that's not you, right? But nobody from the 30,000 feet can necessarily make that distinction on the quick moments that we are just casually going through the internet.
Sure.
That's really where
Last 10 seconds.
Absolutely. So I'd love to get another meeting on the books. So you could really show me some of the things that you've already tried, and then we could figure out where to go from there. How's that sound?
That sounds interesting. Sure. Let's get together.
Fabulous, man. I'm really looking forward.
Thank you. Appreciate the time, Brian.
You betcha. Thanks.
All right, excellent. Frank, if you had one word for Ari, one word for Brian, how those encounters felt that round?
But with Brian, I'm still intrigued. I'm still confused, a little confused, but still intrigued. And with Ari, I'm comfortable, more comfortable this time.
Cool.
Around.
Awesome. So let's do it in reverse order this time. Adam Gagino, what do you got?
So let's start with, I do like the fact that was very direct in his act when Frank asked him, what do you need from me? I would have liked to have drawn out Frank's desire and passion around the Special Olympics to be able to really connect. And I would have really liked to hear more in the heroic unique identity on Ari and why he's so passionate about what he's doing. I think there was an opportunity there to not just connect, but to convey the heroic unique identity. So, I mean, I would say overall, or for Ari, I would, keep that to 7.5.
Awesome. And for Brian?
Brian, back to his energy. It's infectious. He's varying. He's funny. You could tell he's obviously very knowledgeable, and creating that intrigue. I would have liked to know more about the statistics or what he's been able to do. I would be careful, Brian, if I give advice that it could come across a little salesy and that you could be saying the same things to every potential coach or trainer. And, I felt that Frank might have been feeling that way a little bit, like, wait a minute. So, because you really put down the industry, which I understand that is the competitive advantage of creating. But I would just be careful on the congruence of what you're saying and how you're saying and the language that you're using. Overall, though, I think I gave you an 8.5. I'll probably stay right around the 8.5 with that as well.
Thank you.
Nice. Excellent. And Lauren, what'd you have for Brian and Ari?
You're muted, Lauren.
Ari, again, really nice initial connection. I think that you weren't really clear on what you were seeking. That is the funding, and Frank had to bring that out for you. So maybe just a little bit more clarity. And maybe even talk about how you both would mutually benefit from the connection and the support. Ultimately, you got your yes, even though it was a little bit of a hesitant yes. I would give you the same score of an 8. And Brian, great start. You brought him back to where you left off on the call. A great analogy with the infographics and the influencer. You continued the conversation. It was a little confusing. I felt like a little lack of focus and target. You did get the yes, and give you an 8.5.
Thank you.
Excellent. And for Mark, what did you have for Ari and Brian?
Yeah, Ari, this was awesome. I'm digging this so much. This is so cool. And this time I gave Ari a few more points. Ari, I thought you came across again both very genuine, building rapport. You tied into the challenge of the times. I think, very effectively, and got to the investment infusion. Frank asked you a direct question, and you gave him a straight and concise answer. You got to the yes quickly, and the follow-up was strong. So I gave you a 9. I gave you a 9 this time.
Awesome.
So Brian, I really like your humor, your intro, but I think you might have missed the mark. We use a lot the 80-20 rule, where we like to hear the client talk 20%. You talked a lot. You were doing most of the talking throughout the whole time versus getting Frank to come out. So I think your mix of talk track was maybe a little off.
Okay.
He did ask you a direct question. You gave some direct answers. He's still confused, but I gave you a 7 this time just because I felt you spent too much time talking versus drawing him out.
Thank you. Awesome.
There we go.
Hey. All right.
Thank you. Thank you all for the feedback.
Appreciate that.
And did we lose our host?
We might have
Yeah.
lost Sean.
What happens next?
This is the Sean portion, so we're going to give him a second to hop on, where he's going to give his feedback.
Can I weigh in here just for a second?
This format, and Brian and Ari, and Frank, you got to thank you guys for putting yourself out there like this, because this is so. Man, you guys were, iron sharpens iron. So I'm really digging this.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've
Thank
done
you.
about 15, 16 of these so far, and every time, you meet interesting people. It's a great format. I highly suggest that you guys come back and do this again.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm in 100%. I'm in 110%, man.
Yeah, it definitely sharpens the saw, like you said.
Thank you, everybody here. The vulnerability of just to be able to get out there and do it. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Back with us.
So how does this work? Do we add up the points and someone gets a prize or gets a gift card?
Yeah, you get to sing your favorite karaoke song. Is your
All right.
surprise.
Well, I'm married to a Filipino, so karaoke is karaoke.
Mark the prize. You're going to get a call from me. I'm definitely looking forward to chatting to everybody on this call. after tomorrow, I'll give everybody a quick call and introduction.
Hey, Adam, how are you?
Good job.
Can you guys hear me?
There we go.
Yeah. Hey, how are you?
You're back, Sean.
You're back, Sean.
Okay.
We hear you.
Yeah, just trying to work on my. There we go. Okay, thank you guys. So thank you. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. It's been a little crazy with the storming and everything else that's going on.
I
Do
think,
you guys
the,
have,
I think the Twins won another game while you were gone.
that is phenomenal. I just want to drop in a couple things real quick. So really quickly, in terms of the drop in, you know, with everything that everybody's up to, fantastic job. Just a couple of quick thoughts, right? In terms of the optics on Ari, and the judges, you know, great job. Ari, can we drop in on something? Can you hear me, Ari?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yep. So as you're talking about the charitable dynamic, let's role play this out. Let's say that you're Frank, right? So you're building rapport, and it's like, hey, Frank. So with your charitable foundation, what are you guys up to? Like, really, like, why are you involved in this, and what's your ultimate dream and vision? Like, what are you trying to impact in the world?
Yeah. I mean, are you asking me to role play that, or did I miss that?
Yeah.
I missed that. Yeah.
Yeah, to role
I
play
did.
that.
Yeah. So who am I? Am I Frank or am I?
You're Frank. I'm you. You're Frank.
So, you know, Ari, it was great to meet. You know, I'm glad you're asking. I know we've talked only a bit. Our foundation is all about, you know, enabling people and bringing good to the world. So it's really great what I'm hearing you talk about. It's very consistent with what we do. I'm still confused. I'm Frank talking to Ari here. So I'm still confused a little bit on, you know, the special needs angle. Like, I would have typically done research. I'm just pausing for a moment. I would have done research. I would have known about the Special Olympics connection and dropped in on that. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So
what
is your charitable app? Just like, let's go. I'll go with Frank. Hey, Frank. So what is it? Like, just answer that question. What is it you're doing in the world? Like, I hear the impact. I hear the caring. What is your charity all about?
My charity is all about, it's about helping others, and it's not necessarily just about help. It's about finding organizations that enable, it's about finding organizations that don't enable but help. And I like the Special Olympics because I don't feel it's just a handout. I feel it's an organization that very much helps people strive and thrive and bring out the greatness in each and every one of them. Everyone's a competitor. Everyone's treated special, not just because of the name of the organization, but I love their energy. I just love how they bring out, you know, that the desire to compete, the desire to win, the desire for excellence, the desire for significance. That's why I have a real strong attachment to Special Olympics.
So Frank, I want to acknowledge not only your heart, but I hear like a clear sense of purpose that the charities that you want to help are certainly heart-centered, but you're really, it sounds like, thinking of really effective ways to solve bigger problems and have real impact, not just to kind of put a Band-Aid on things. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So Ari, I've now heard Frank.
Yeah.
Frank, you feel heard and acknowledged, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And now, how different is that if you lean in and step into with what your charity's outcome is and say, hey, Frank, would it be okay? I know we only have about a minute to go. If I shared a little bit about myself. Yeah. And then,
it's a very big
you're sharing. So Frank, what I'm up to in the world is, I think, and you could tell me what you think, is really aligned. My mission in the world is to support ... tying it into what Frank said. Do you feel that, Ari?
Yeah. Totally. Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Very much.
So fantastic job.
Thank you.
Brian, super intrigued. I'd give you a 9.5 plus. I thought you did a fantastic job. Your certainty, like so much of influence is certainty. And I hear what Adam's saying, and I honor it, and there's like a fine little line there. But I really liked, maybe you could have said it once, not twice, but I like the idea of, listen, Frank, everybody's a coach today. So how do you differentiate? And brother, you differentiate because of your incredible accomplishments. And by the way, I'm not diminishing these fine folks. They may have an incredible ability to produce results. but you have such a unique and dynamic advantage because of your background in business and the things that you've done, right? So I love your certainty, because essentially that's what you're saying, right? What I would have loved is an access point for my score of 9.5 to move up to like 9.9 to 9.99, 9.999. Those micro distinctions would have been really to expand a bit on what you said, because I was like, whoa, cool. When I heard you, Brian, say, yeah, some people, like, they get rid of their website because what's happening on LinkedIn is like this: intriguing, powerful, in curiosity provoking. And what we always say is, in these limited time frames, the mission is to be congruently unique to create curiosity. And I think you really did that. So if you haven't, in that second 3 minutes, a little bit more of tightness on, yeah. And like, so John Smith, one of our clients, like really did what we shared. And the byproduct for John Smith was, he was struggling to find sales meetings and complimentary coaching sessions. And all of a sudden he was generating 14 complimentary coaching sessions a month, doing nothing different than shooting the same videos. And a couple of things were tailored in. And Frank, I don't know, like, would 14 complimentary coaching sessions a month be beneficial for you? Like, I would just like tighten that a hair. Does that make sense, Brian?
It does. May I respond?
Sure.
So I think so there's one thing to consider with a 3 minute and then a 3 minute. But again, flying blind, not knowing the whole thing, and not even knowing enough about Frank, I was trying to move so quickly. I wasn't sure how to put all of that together. I totally agree. And I feel like I would have otherwise been more prepared. And, just in the next window, if you see a reflection on my glasses, I'm like furiously Googling Frank and thinking about it. I was probably going to go color next because I wanted to understand where he was coming from with orange.
Yeah. So can I try something real quick?
Sure.
You game?
Yeah.
Okay. So Brian, I'm intrigued, right? So can I ask you what prompted you to say yes to come on The Real Raw today?
That is a fabulous question. I'm glad you asked it. I think that a lot of people assume that they're great at stuff and you can always get better. If you notice, everybody, Sean did not give anybody a 10 as to his 9.5 to 9.9 to 9.99, which is great, which means that there's always room for refinement. Sean also mentioned certainty. I know I'm good at stuff, and that's not boasting. It's a certainty. I know I'm good at this. I do founder selling all day long to people all over the world, but I want to hear from a room full of people live, being completely vulnerable, knowing absolutely nothing about what's coming next with it, to hear everybody's feedback, because every one of you has said something totally different that I might have thought about a little, but take Adam's point, for instance. I didn't mean to crap on coaches, but I think a lot of coaches do a good job of that because they don't, as everyone does not stand out enough. To your point, Sean, I shouldn't have set it a double, but I think it's necessary to really kind of bring that to the next level. So that's why I wanted to come on. I just thought that this sounded like a really great thought experiment, I guess would be the phrase I would put on it.
Yeah, so super cool. So
Yeah.
I believe, Brian, that people want more money and/or they want it in less time and/or they want more magic, impact, adventure, passion, significance, meaning, right? So in that continuum, right, obviously the thought experiment was there, but are you still looking to grow your business? Like what for you in your business is present? I understand sharpening those skills, but are you like completely satiated? Are you looking to grow? Like what's present for you?
Always looking to grow. I feel like anybody who has any kind of internet-based business should be on the path to advancing, as opposed to going out of business completely or waiting and seeing and putting your head in the sand and waiting for everything to get better and everything gets back to normal. Pretty sure we're not going back to the Pony Express. The guy doesn't come to your door and give you a block of ice. You have the ice box, AKA freezer. So yeah, I'm looking to meet new people, grow, and impact everybody and help everybody that I meet.
Yeah, so you are clear.
Magic first instead of third. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're clearly highly intelligent. You clearly have really high influence mastery skill set. Like that's present for me. So it sounds like you have like kind of everything like where you want it. Am I hearing that correctly? Or is there anything that's a challenge for you? at this stage?
I think the best way to answer challenge is the modern day form of currency, which is not gold or silver or Bitcoin or the dollar, but just keeping sane. So, as we all try to do our best in pandemic times to just keep everything in balance, continue to grow, and have enough time for everything in life.
Awesome. And how about like in terms, so I hear time, right? I hear time, leaking out a little bit. How about, your business, your talent, your ability, how scalable, duplicatable, like where is that in the continuum for Brian?
Yeah, so I do a thing that is hard to scale, but I think that a lot of things that are good are hard to scale, and I'm okay with that. But I think on the sales side, I think that's just how it is, to be infectious. And everybody here at some point has used some sort of phraseology where it's interesting, right? So if you had asked me the question, what was my goal in mind for Frank? I knew these were short things that I know almost nothing about him. So I'm trying to just continue to be interesting, right? So what would my goal be next? I just want him to, check me out on LinkedIn and follow me. And honestly, he will probably come to me next because he'll see cool stuff that I'm doing, who I'm helping. And as a golden ratio, as a function of what I radiate content-wise, he's going to see the different work products that I do for other people and the results that they get.
Awesome. So what if your business was more leverageable, duplicatable, and scalable? Would that be interesting to you?
Who could say no to that? Also, yes.
Right? So, so I'll leave you with that unique curiosity. And I really appreciated you being here today. And I'm very impressed by Ari, you, Brian. And Brian, how was your experience?
Did you say Ari or Brian on that one?
Yeah, I was saying, Brian, how was your experience today?
Really good. I didn't entirely know what to expect, but I find those more interesting.
Yeah, very, very cool. Appreciate it. And Ari, thank you. How was your day today, Ari?
Great. Thank you for inviting me. This was really neat. I also did not know what to expect. And thank you to all the judges. And Frank, thank you for doing the role play. It was really cool.
Absolutely. Great job.
We
Frank,
do this
brother.
all day and all the time, but you never know. You never have, you can't bring in a recorder in the room to see how you're doing. And sometimes we get into these routines and being able to, first of all, you all devoted time to this to give us feedback. That never happens. So just that for that alone, thank you. And a really neat learning experience. If we're not growing, then, you have to be every 9.999, we'll keep going to that. So I really appreciate it. Very grateful.
Thank you. Thank you, Ari. And Mark, you said beautiful words. Sounds like you had a positive experience today, sir.
Oh, this was off the charts for me. I'm like digging every minute of it. So, and for Brian and Ari to put themselves out there on the spot to be transparent, you can tell that they're just real professionals. And I just love that everyone's pouring into everybody.
That's super. Thank you. And Lauren, how was today for you?
This is my first time being a judge. I was on the other side, playing as a contestant, receiving the feedback. I just really appreciate Brian Ari's vulnerability and really kind of taking it all in. And we are all looking to improve. I'm really glad to be a part of this.
Yeah. So listen, Frank, thank you. Adam Gugino, thank you. Again, Ari, Brian, Mark, Lauren, the study of my life is how to create more money in less time with more magic and give people the things they want. That's where my listening was sharp for Brian. I lived in a world where people told me the law wasn't scalable, and I built a 40-person law firm in 2 years out of law school. Something before or since I'd never heard of anybody doing. Sold it, built a training and development company, sold that, built law firm number 2, which I still have with 125 people, infinitely scalable, duplicatable with our commitment to it. And I am super grateful for all your time today. I learned today. I was inspired today. Beautiful job to everybody. And it's Why Wednesday. Hopefully this is the beginning of the journey. If it's not, I wish you well. I wish you freedom in your money, time, and magic, and freeing the world from a capitalist structure, thinking that we have to trade dollars for time or dollars and time for magic. All of it can be had. Have a blessed day. Thank you.